Welcome back, everybody. Mark here, and sorry about the delay in videos. We had a pretty bad nor'easter. We got our power disconnected for about 4 days because the power line was ripped off the pole at the end of our street. Took a while to get power back on, and at the same time I caught a flu/cold, whatever it was. Felt pretty sick for a while, and then I ended up traveling to California for work. So it's been a little bit delayed, but hopefully this lesson makes up for it. So what we're going to do here is I've got it zoomed in, and we're actually going to make it so we have multiple balloons on the screen. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. We're using what we had left over from lesson 14. So we're on to lesson 15 now. And we're going to comment out our balloon direction. And then we're going to go ahead, and we're not going to add a plus sign, but we're going to actually add in things we need for our balloon. So first we need max balloons, so we actually have more than one balloon on the screen. And let's set that to 10. We could set it to 15, 20. This will set how many balloons we see at one time. And we'll use this to actually dimension our arrays. And then we're actually going to have about 5 different arrays specifying what's going on with our balloon. So our first one is going to be our balloon direction, and not capital, lowercase. And we're going to pass in our actual max balloons. That's going to dimension the array for us. So we're going to add our other arrays. So we're going to actually have one for the balloon move. So how fast is the balloon moving? And we're going to set that speed randomly to make our game more dynamic. Make it feel very random to us. We're going to add another array, and this is going to be a bool. And so basically this is bool balloons, and basically this is saying, have we set a balloon on the screen yet, true or false? Now I know a lot of people like to use flags here, which is common practice, but I'm going to use basically a bool. To me, I think it's clearer. Make sure we don't have any misspelling in here. Trust me, that'll always bite you in the butt. So balloon X, here's another array for us. So max balloons. And you can see, because we're passing in max balloons, whatever we set that to, it'll dimension our arrays to the proper size. And I know I did a lesson on arrays, so hopefully this helps you guys see how you can really use arrays to your advantage. And max balloons. Alright, so we got our arrays. And what I want to do is, first we're actually going to set the default direction, and we're actually going to set the default for the balloons. Have we drawn them to the screen? We haven't. So we're going to set that default. So we're going to say for I equals 1 to max balloons. That way we loop through each one. Next I. So this is a loop. And in this loop we're actually going to say balloon dir, so our balloon direction I. That way we loop through each one. So that'll be 1 on the first pass, 2 on the second, 3, 4, 5. So we're looping through each balloon direction. And we're going to set it to up. And then we're going to actually loop through the bool balloon. So make sure you get your S in there. Balloons. I. We want to loop through each one. And we're going to set that to false. We haven't drawn any to the screen yet, so it's going to be false. So balloon direction and bool balloons. Set to false right away. So we're set there. We've got everything we need in our variables. So what we want to do is actually go to our loop, and we're going to change move.balloons to balloons. We're going to add another subroutine right above it. Go sub, and this is actually going to be draw.balloons. So this is how we're going to draw them to the screen. And what we're going to need to do is, where we're actually drawing the balloons to begin with, we're actually going to comment them out right there. So we don't really need to do much to anything else. So right here we're going to load the sprite, that's fine, but we're not going to place it on the screen. We're actually going to do that with our draw.balloons. So let's go ahead for clarity, because we want to make sure we're nice and clear, is copy our move.balloon header here. And we'll press enter, paste it, put a couple of spaces. And this is how we're actually going to draw.balloons. And make sure you have both S's. So this is our branch label, and then it's going to return. So then what we want to do next is go ahead and basically we want to set the X, Y, and the speed of our balloon randomly. So we want to loop through each one. So we're going to use for I equals 1, 2, max balloons. So you can see how we're going to use that. Next I, we're going to use it quite a bit. This way we loop through each balloon. And basically we're going to say if bool balloons. So we're going to loop through each balloon, and as long as it's equal to false, so each bool. So if it's false, we're saying no, we haven't drawn this balloon to the screen yet. Then we want to go ahead and set the X and the Y. So balloon X. And then we're going to use a random number. We're going to say integer, and then rand. And it's going to be between 1 and 800. Then we're also going to add 15 to it, plus 15. 15. So at minimum, the X is going to be at 16 pixels from the left of our screen. And then we're going to do the same thing for the Y. Balloon Y. And we're going to set it randomly. It makes our game feel more dynamic. And that's going to be between 1 and, let's say, 690. And then we'll have plus 20. So 710 can be our max. So let's put a space in there. There we go. I like it. Looks cleaner. So balloon X, balloon Y. And then we're actually going to say, if it's less than a certain amount, we're going to set it to that amount. We're going to say if balloon X I is less than 30, then balloon X I is equal to 30. So we don't want it to be any less than 30. That way it doesn't go off the screen. And then we're going to do the same thing for the Y. So if balloon Y is greater than 700, make sure my fingers are in the right spot here, then balloon Y is equal to 700. So now it can't go any farther than 700. Now we want to set the speed of our balloon. So balloon move equals, and once again, this is going to be a random number between 1 and let's say 15. But let's make sure let's add 3 to it. So the minimum speed can be 4. So it's going to be a speed of 4 to 18. So slow or fast. And then we want to go ahead and put our end if in here. End if. So there we go. That's our loop for drawing the balloon. So we set the X, the Y, and the speed of our balloon. Now we want to draw it to the screen. And so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use another loop. So for I equals 1, 2, 2, there we go. Max balloons. Next, I. Then we're going to have another if statement. So we're going to say if bool balloons. So So as long as our balloons have not been drawn to the screen yet, so it's going to equal false. Then let's end if. Let's put our end if in there before we lose it. And now we actually want to draw it in here. So we want to use the handle to our window, which is gaming world. And then we're going to add the sprite, add sprite. And it's going to be red balloon. Now it's going to be I, because we actually want to add a number to it. And we're going to actually have another semicolon, space. Put our space in between, semicolon, space. Don't forget the space on the end. And there we go. So as long as you guys have it like that, that's going to go ahead and work for us. So that added the sprite. So the next thing we want to do is actually set it to the back so our bullet shows up on top of it. So sprite to back. And so it's just going to be our red balloon. And basically semicolon I. So it's going to loop through all of our red balloons for us. And then gaming world, handle to our window once again. And this is going to set our XY. So sprite XY R balloon quotes semicolon I and then colon or semicolon, excuse me, R space semicolon balloon X space balloon Y. So this sets the X and the Y of our balloon on the screen. Now once we actually draw the balloon to the screen, we want to set our bool balloons to true. So this means we drew our balloon. So that's it for our draw balloon. I'm going to save here. Let's scroll down a little bit. So we want to update our move balloons. Now I could go ahead and run this right now, but it won't look very good. So what we'll do is I'm actually going to, we should probably comment that out in case we want to use it later. Let's just go ahead and delete it because we don't need it. And let's go ahead and move our balloons. So we're still going to use our loop. So we want to loop through all of our balloons. That way we can move each one properly. And so basically, we're going to say if balloon Y, because we're only moving our balloons on our Y axis, is less than or equal to, and make sure you have the equals to or the balloons will get stuck and stop moving, 30, then balloon direction. So the direction of our balloon is going to equal down. And then we're going to say if balloon Y is greater than or equal to, and make sure you have the equals or the balloons will get stuck and stop moving, then balloon direction. So we're setting the direction of the balloon. That way we know they're moving up and down, equals up. So that sets the direction of our balloon depending on where they are set on the screen. And then we can go ahead and actually move them. So if balloon Y is greater than or equal to 30, so if it's down the screen towards the bottom of your screen on the Y axis, we want to move it negatively, so we move it up the screen towards the top of your screen. So we're going to say and balloon, and this lets us go ahead and make sure that the direction is moving properly the way we want it to. So and balloon direction equals up, then balloon Y equals balloon Y. Trying to type too fast. And we want to subtract our balloon move. So whatever our speed is, we're going to subtract that from that balloon. So, you know, we have 10 balloons, we have 10 different speeds, so we can cycle through all of them and move them independently. And then we want to do the same thing if we're moving down the screen. So balloon Y is, nope, we want less than or equal to 700, and balloon direction is equal to down. So as we're moving down the screen, then we want to actually add to our Y. Balloon Y equals balloon Y. Jeez, hold down the shift there, Marky. There we go. And then we want to add to it so it moves down our screen. So balloon move. There we go. So that's going to move it down the screen. So the last thing we want to do here is we actually want to go ahead and make sure that we actually set the X and Y. So gaming world, the handle to our window, sprite, XY, so the red balloon, I, and say we balloon X, semicolon, space, semicolon, balloon Y. There we go. So now that sets the X and Y of our balloon. So we move it up and down the screen. We'll save that. We no longer need this balloon counter under here underneath count. So let's just go ahead and comment all of that out because we no longer need it. So we no longer need that. And then one of the last things we want to do is actually check our collision. So let's go ahead and comment out what we have for our collision. We're not going to use that. We're going to actually use some new coding here. And tab over. Let's put some spaces in there. So we're actually going to put a space at the end of our list. And so I learned this a long time ago. I actually reached out to a forum because we actually had a game where we're removing multiple blocks, and what was happening is that 1 and 11 were getting removed at the same time, or 1, 11, 31, 21, 41. So you can imagine it was getting terrible. We only want to remove 1 block at a time, not 2 blocks. So we learned to do this. And then we learned to use the instruction. So once again, we want to loop through all of our arrays. So max balloons. And we'll say next, not nest, next I. And we'll go ahead and if bool balloons I is equal to true. So if our balloon is drawn to the screen, and this is that function again for the instruction, we're going to pass in our list. So if we're colliding with the bullet, and we're going to pass in our red balloon, and then we're actually going to pass in I, the number, and then we're actually going to pass in our blank at the end. That way we're not getting multiple ones, you know, 1 and 11, 1 and 21, 1 and 31. So you can imagine. This makes it a lot clearer. Let's do our end if. And now let's go ahead. If we're colliding with the bullet, we want to remove our balloon. So remove sprite. That's going to be our balloon. It's that simple. And then basically we want to say this balloon, so this bool, just balloons. So this balloon is no longer drawn, so we want to set it to false. It's no longer drawn. And then we actually want to increment our counter. So if shoot count is less than or equal to 1, so we only want to add 1 to our score, then score equals score plus 1. So if our balloon was worth 5 points, we could add 5, but we'll just add 1 for now. Let's go ahead and save that. And let me go over here and actually switch so you guys can see when I run this. I'm going to click on run as long as I did everything right, which it's going to throw up. So it says not found move.balloons. So it's going to stop working. I know. Let's go back into lesson 15. So it's angry over move.balloon. So let's scroll down and you'll see that on move.balloon, I forgot to add the S. Like I said, I'm not going to take out these errors. We're going to troubleshoot them together. So let me save that. Move this back over. Run it again. There we go. We got 10 balloons moving up and down. One simple error. I just forgot to add the S there, but we shoot the balloon, it removes it, and it adds it somewhere else with a different speed. So we shot that one. So you can see we can shoot different balloons. And it's going to keep adding them in different areas, random spots, different speeds. Some are fast, some are slow. So not too bad for lesson 15. So that's going to be it for today. What we might do in the next lesson is add a timer. Maybe we'll add it so you only have 5 shots before you have to press the right mouse button to reload the gun. So we can do different things like that. But I hope you guys liked the episode. If you did, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next lesson.